Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Gaming Counselor, Jeff, hit it.
Welcome to the counselor's office.
That's right. We are back in the counselor's office with another Counselor Reacts, the series where the counselor reacts to video game content. Today, we're going to check out Aztecross. Like I said, I do watch some of his content, and I've seen some videos. We got a video, Into the Light, Over Delivery. I have not actually watched it. It's a very short video, but I'm very interested to see what it's about, because it's nice to see what other people's opinions are about things that you've talked about. I've talked about Into the Light, and so let's talk about it. I also see a $, which is very questionable to me, but we're going to jump in. We're going to see what this is about.
Guys, something's going on. Bungie is making too many right decisions right now. And
that is scary.
After watching,
by the way, the video is called Bungie is Scaring Me.
Them over the past year, maybe a year and a half, make the decisions they have made over and over. I'm sitting here wondering what the hell is going on. Who is making these common sense decisions? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who that person may be, or maybe collection of persons, but they're just making good common sense decisions.
One of those is the new player experience change that they're shipping with Into the Light, where you can skip the campaign and actually play with friends who are willing to teach you, and you're able to jump right into the Light. New content, you're able to play it and enjoy it day one. These are fantastic changes.
And that's surprising. One of those decisions is the fact that all the weapons that we were going to be getting after the Into the Light update goes live was going to be stretched out over 6 weeks.
Yeah, that was time gated. Shooting yourself in the foot.
I mean, everything is time gated. The story's time gated.
Yeah,
is time gated.
Yeah,
time gates are time gated. That's just part of Bungie's way. But then everybody started.
Holy crap! Yeah, I mean, technically, we rescuing Saint 14 was time gated too, unironically.
And in the past, Bungie would just read that and they would just carry on. We would still get the 6-week time gate, and that would be it. But then they rolled it back. Now, not completely. It's 3 weeks instead of 6 weeks, but the point...
It's still bad. It's still garbage. I still hate it. But he's right. Bungie could have just flipped us the bird and said, you know what? Suck it. But they're actually listening. Surprisingly, when they said, we're listening to you, they're actually listening.
The point is, it's common sense decisions that are being made right now. And it's scaring me, fellas. This good stuff that keeps happening right now is scaring me. This is the thing that happens right before everything dies. Now look, you're probably saying
that is interesting, but you can make my counter argument is that it's not necessarily also because things are dying, it's because they're also in desperate need for cash. Like, Bungie's tone and delivery of content recently is a 360. I think when people say that Destiny is dying, I think that's very true, but not in the sense that it's actually dying. I think Bungie is dying. And I think that they are desperate to get the grace of the community, to get money back, because Sony is on their doorstep and they have Bungie's balls in hand. Like, Sony is tired of Bungie. Like, they have not, I do not think that Sony has benefited from buying Bungie. And so if you are not benefiting from something, you're going to change that.
Ross, you're being dramatic. But you ever had that grandpa that was like, you know, pretty much a dick their whole life? They were just always riding you all the time. And it's suddenly out of nowhere, they're like, hey, you want to go fishing? And like a week later, they're dead.
What the? I love my grandpa. What the hell? No, I'm gonna have to call my grandpa and tell him I love him. Like, Jesus. What the hell kind of example is that?
What I'm saying is, that's what I feel like is happening here with Bungie. They're like, listen, maybe Destiny is about to die in the next year or so. Let's just give them something great. And not that I'm against getting something great, but I'm just saying it's kind of scary to think about. Decision number 2.
No, what's scary is that it took Bungie actually getting to this point where they actually are dying. People are being laid off, and it's being rumored that there's going to be more leaks either before or after the final shape is released. That more layoffs are going to happen. It's just scary that we had to get to this point before Bungie started making common sense changes, like having live streams, interacting with the community, like the things that we used to do. And suddenly things are hitting the pan, and now we're returning back to our OG roots, where Bungie is caring about the community. We're talking, we're having people actually play the game and showing the game and showing interest in the game. Like, it was so a breath of fresh air to see developers who actually expressed that they cared about the game, knew and understand the components of the game, and were actually playing said game with some efficiency. Not sitting there shooting an overload, wondering, why is this not dying?
That Bungie has done here recently that I know no one's really even thinking about. The fact that they have had live streams. They have had live streams hyping up their content.
Yeah.
When was the last time they did a single live stream? You know, outside of, you know, last year when we saw the 1v1 with Joe, which was amazing. And guys, I would quite frankly watch another tournament of that style again. I mean, come on, stack up all the Overload champions. Let's see Joe take them all on. But
it's funny. I literally should have just played the clip first, and I would have. I beat him to the punchline, but yes, essentially. But it was a nightmare. Like, that was like a prime example of a developer that doesn't play their game or showcases the problem with a game, and yet it's not fixed, because that overload, apparently people were saying, well, give him some credit, that overload's been glitchy. Like, okay, well, why has it not been fixed? If the head honcho Joe himself couldn't struggle to beat that, which I never had a problem, I just nuke him. I always nuke that overload whenever I farmed that lost sector. But that's besides the point. Point is, it was a breath of fresh air to see competency playing said game, having a actual meta build, like a functioning, even if you don't like Bloodline. Falcons is pretty meta, especially for ad clear. Like, it was a good, solid, functioning build, and he was surviving. Like, he was going to make all 50 rounds. So, and they were having fun, and it was sincere. It wasn't this copy pasta cinematics. He was actually sitting there, and I knew he was playing by the way when he was into the game. Like, my dude had the gamer syndrome, where he's so focused on the game, and they're talking. The famous clip that of the guy explaining, and he's like, oh, yeah, okay, like, play it. That was comical. That was a true gamer moment. Okay. Like, beautiful. That's what we need. Those moments are more special. They're more intimate. They're more, this is the company that I like. If they were like this all the time, they were with the community, and it felt like we're part of it, versus they're just drip feeding us, and we're like baby birds, and they're like, eat this, eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it, instead of, hey, we're bros, let's game out together. We're part of this community. We care about this game. Like, I love the feeling that I would want to play with these developers, because they actually seem to care, which is not what we've been getting. We've been getting oh, I'm just here to do a panic PR emergency stream to hopefully help save the game.
It's the last time they really sat down and started hyping up something going into an expansion outside of the annual expansion. It feels like years. We used to get like trailers leading up to the season. And then the day the season dropped, there was all this hype that built up. And then for like the past couple of years, though, what has happened is we just get a trailer the day the stuff actually drops.
Which is stupid as hell. Like, I get it from a marketing. You drop it that day, so people, like, if you do it too early, yes, I can kind of see, like, oh, people will forget. But if you drop it that day, people are like, oh, this is out? I need to go play Destiny. But the fundamental problem with that is you're assuming new players are going to want to play this game. Whereas the people who are going to play the game anyways are the target audience you should be trying to hype up. Because if you hype up that audience and you get them excited, they're going to tell friends. They're going to tell other people. The news of a good game does spread. That's what happened with Power World. I had no idea what the hell Power World was until people started talking about it on Twitter. And then I got excited and I started playing. I bought it because of the word of mouth that was spreading about how good the game was. Like, that's what you do. You hype up a game.
There's like no hype. There's some stuff happening in the
no hype at all.
There's some talk.
Like, there is no hype for the final shape. I have zero hype. I'm not even excited for it. I'm more excited for Into the Light because of everything they've shown than I am excited for the final DLC. because I have nothing to base excitement on because we just got a pro-typical cinematic. There's no gameplay. There's nothing that has me like, man, I'm really looking forward to this. No, I don't give a crap. Please make me excited. I'm begging you.
Here and there with about sandbox changes that are coming, and perhaps like a podcast interview with one of the developers, which is really, really nice. The fact,
yeah, but the problem with the podcast interviews, it's nice, but it's still generic. It's still empty. Like and here's another problem. Having a developer, like half the time that these people do like podcasts, who the hell in the community really knows if it's someone you watch on YouTube? If you are a person who plays Destiny, but you don't consume content on YouTube or Twitch streams, how the hell are you supposed to get this content? No, you need to be doing like actual live streams, advertise it in your game. Like there's this Bungie live stream. I don't even know if they advertise the streams on the game itself, which they should. There should be like a news icon. Many games have them. Hell, Warframe has it that tells you in how many hours they have like key things happening. There's a whole drop down that you can look at like, oh, this is an update. This is happening. Like a news feed would be very beneficial for Destiny. There's just a quality of life, in my opinion, especially to keep people informed. And that's a big problem with this game is if you don't consume content from creators or you stick up for every little person, you miss out. Like there's things that I didn't even know that I hear because like someone like Aztecross regurgitates it and like, what the hell is this? Like where'd this come from?
is that Bungie themselves have not been hyping up their own products
Nope.
going into the launch of a season or an expansion for a very long time. Outside of the annual expansion, they haven't been doing that. Now, decision number 3. Bungie is making this entire update that's coming to us next week that has, by the way, a horde mode, which we've asked for a very long time.
Yes,
They're
we
making it
have.
free, which, dude, that's just crazy. I mean, free in Bungie. Those things.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to praise them for that, but I'm going to be honest. I spent 15 whatever dollars. I don't know. I bought the annual pass, the deluxe with Lightfall. Like I got debated the hardest out of everyone. Like I paid for it and I got stuck with it. I do not think I got my money's worth from Season of the Wish because most of the content is just reused assets that I already paid for or already owned. They owe me. Personally, they owe me. So I'm glad that it's free because this feels like a seasonal update. And it kind of makes up for the lack of whatever the hell Season of the Wish was. So I'm okay. But I'm still not giving them high praise because they're still making up for the crap that they sold me.
Just don't go together. Like, when was the last time Bungie did anything for free? I think the April update back in
Yeah,
Taken King.
what
I really don't know of any other time. I mean, 30th anniversary events, that was money. You still had to pay for that.
Yes, you did.
Everybody talks very highly of the 30th anniversary event. But just thinking back before that,
God, I wish Forerunner was better. Like apparently it's hot, but the MO economy, I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know of anything else.
The catalyst sucks though. They need to fix that. It sucks. It's a novelty that has no real impact.
Bungie has done that was for free. And that right there is crazy in itself. Now the fourth thing.
And the BXR, please buff pulse rifles. My BXR baby.
And this is the one that scares me the most. Out of everything that was shown in the live streams and everything that was talked about and everything that we've been going over pretty much for the past 3-4 weeks, somehow, some way, the impossible has occurred. And that's Bombad Thy Boogeyman making a return to Destiny 2.
I don't know who that is. I'm going to preference that I'm not going to say any comment. Though, I will state that though I don't know who this person is, there is a lot of people who are going to come back and new players who are going to try it out because of Into the Light. And that is shocking that this has encouraged people to come back and try to play the game because it's a free content. And the content is something that the community has highly asked for. And he's right. The last time we got something like this that was free and expansive was the Prison of Elders, essentially. Like the Taken set, like we had Taken weapons, we had Taken armor, which is something the community has always wanted, was Taken armor. And they still do. I think the last time we got something free was a Prophecy dungeon. But I think that was because it was a big oopsie moment. I'm trying to remember what it was that happened. I think it was because of sunsetting. People were so upset about sunsetting and they took away all the guns, and there was literally like no content. Because I'm pretty sure it came out with Season of the Rivals. I'm pretty sure it came out with Season of the Rivals. And that's when they're like, okay, we're not going to sunset anymore. But I'm pretty sure they still sunset everything, but they kept Season of the Rivals. I don't remember. It was so long ago, but the prophecy essentially was free to fix up one of their big F-ups. And that seems like maybe like a pattern that when they really F up, they try to do something free to kind of win the grace of the community back. I don't know. You let me know in the comments down below.
By the way, was our third member to the best fire team in A. He left after a nightfall one day. And if I remember the exact quotes, this game is so bad, man. So bad. And then that was it. Bomb had literally uninstalled. And I don't know. What was that? A year and a half, maybe 2 years.
And unironically, I get people that comment about that in Destiny. They're like, dead game, dead, trash game. Can't believe people still play it. And that's what I think about Halo Infinite. So I get it. I absolutely get people's perspectives, because people's perspective on Destiny is the same that I have for Halo. And I play it for this. Well, actually, I don't play it for the same reason people in Halo play Halo Infinite, because there's nothing story continued. Like, it's a one and done. But I'm playing Destiny because I want to finish the story off. And after that, maybe the Stockholm Syndrome comes to the end and I move on.
Years ago, and we never saw Bombat again. But somehow, some way, Into the Light and the decisions that Bungie have made here lately has convinced him to re-download Destiny. Dude.
Yeah, I mean,
like
good decisions.
That's all I'm going to say. I feel like this is that moment where they're like, listen, about to die. Let's go fishing, son. Now,
Stop. That is such a First off, you got to be careful when you talk about stuff like that, because there are, like, obviously there's certain things that you can't. You're always going to probably say something that triggers or upsets someone. But, like, you didn't have to use the whole grandpa dying. Like, how many people are gonna get triggered or have, like, emotional reaction to that because they lost their grandpa or their loved one? Like, we don't have to talk about losing people. Like, that's just the counselor in me. It's nitpicking, but come on. That's, like, it's not even, like, funny. Like, I don't know why you talk about actual people dying when it's not funny. Again, that's just me being nitpicky. But I'm a counselor, so I think about other people's emotions, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm being a counselor. That's it.
Common sense decisions Bungie has made here lately. It's even more shocking is, well, one of them being that you now have an opportunity, if you're a new player or a new light player, to completely skip.
That's fantastic. We needed that
experience that everyone hates so much, and a lot of new light players actually get very much derailed. No, you could skip all of that now.
Yeah, because it's bad, it's boring, and it doesn't really explain the fundamentals of the game. Like, it doesn't.
Matter of fact, you just pick your subclass and you can call up your friend and you can jump right into the content. And considering Into the Light and everything around it is completely free, you'll be able to jump right into the content with them. Not only that, there's going to be a chest available for everyone where when you pick up that armor, it will bring you to the soft cap of your level. Meaning you're not going to be a detriment or a liability for you.
I didn't realize that that's what it was. I didn't realize it was going to bring people up to the soft cap, which is fantastic. That means you can get caught up. That is fan-freaking-tastic, because you know when the final shape comes out, you're going to have to do the power grind again. Even if it's, like, based on the team, you're still going to want to do that for when you play solo. You're going to want to make sure your characters are up to date. So this allows people who want to join in and be ready for the final shape if they choose to do so.
For your fire team and your friends, you are going to be leveled up enough to do enough damage and to contribute to that horde mode that you both are playing in. Again, common sense decisions are being made here. Not only that,
yeah.
I noticed in multiple live streams that everyone just seems almost like at ease. Like, you're seeing the developers, you're getting FaceTime with them. They seem at ease, you know, talking about their craft, talking about what they've created. We saw, like, most recently this past week, and the developers talking about when they created Whisper, and even going back to as far as, like, what it was that drew that inspiration out of them.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
That was really cool, seeing the Whisper first whiteboard. Like, a throwback to what they were doing, to the explaining. Like, this feels more intimate, more deeper. And I love this, seeing the processes and thoughts of it. Yes, have they done this in the past. Like they've done raid-alongs and whatnot, which is all right. But when you have stuff like this where it feels like we're on a couch, we're actually engaging with the community, it feels better. Which, by the way, when's the last time they did a raid-along?
Not something that we would normally get from, you know, like corporate Bungie, which seems to be what we were getting for like the past couple of years. It was like we couldn't have that FaceTime with Bungie anymore.
No, because we were a number.
We're getting that human interaction there with Bungie developers. Something I feel like we haven't gotten since maybe Forsaken. And perhaps like, you know, a little bit after that, but COVID really shut things down and maybe that was the cause of it. But it's been a very long time since.
No, I think it's the desperation for money is because they were struggling, right? I mean, they've been struggling. That's the whole reason they sold out to Sony, is because if they didn't, they would probably cease to exist. So it's all just them trying to fix things. But they shot themselves in the foot by doing half-butt content. That's the bottom dollar. Like Lightfall was not. It was the beginning of the end, and this whole season, or this whole year of seasons, has been garbage.
Since we've gotten that. No. There's some comments surrounding the fact that this is all old rehashed stuff that Bungie is bringing back to us. And that's fair. But at the same time,
it's free though.
Stuff we weren't asking for. Look, I've been asking to get the Whisper mission and
absolutely
the 0 hour mission now for years. Those are great missions that people need to experience. And not only is Bungie bringing that back to us, but they've actually redone some things to it. So much, which is great. They actually said that we're going to need to make new guides for it, which is incredible. The other things are the weapons. Yes, they're returning weapons, Midnight Coup and Blast Furnace and Luna's Howl and also Reclusive Mountaintop. But at the same time, these are things we've been asking for. So I know it is old stuff that's coming back to us, but these are truly community favorites. These are things that we...
And they're free. Listen, if they try to sell it to us like they sold reskinned weapons in in Lightfall, which all those weapons, people are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But when you're paying for something, I want new. This is acceptable because it's free. I will shut up and I won't complain about reused assets on a free update.
We went back in the game. I think the reality is that really sunsetting shouldn't have existed. That's
no, it shouldn't have.
But if it did have to exist, this is how you bring these things back to us.
Absolutely.
Because the hype is so high, Bungie is actually going to be doing a stream next Tuesday going over the Final Shape. They're going to be showing us Final Shape gameplay. And I know to some of you, this may not be.
Which I will be live to check it out to see if there's any hype.
That big of a surprise. But I was expecting this to occur later in the month. But them doing this right after doing 3 back-to-back live streams for Into the Light tells me that Bungie is not only getting very comfortable with us doing these live streams.
Yeah, that's great.
Trying to show us what they've been working on. And if there's something I can say about Bungie, I feel like over the past year, is that I just don't feel like they've been that excited to show us what they've been working on.
Especially Lightfall. Like Lightfall, they really didn't do any of that, which I kind of want to start seeing what's under the hood before I purchase it, because it's just like a car. You see a car from the outside, but if you don't know what's under the hood, it could be falling apart, which is kind of what Lightfall was. So I'm glad we're starting to push, and they're actually excited. Like I've seen on Twitter where they're like, "Oh, we're so excited to show you stuff. Can't wait for the stream." Like, okay, that could be just a PR move, but if we see actual gameplay, I'm down for it.
You know, everything has been kind of very much scripted or even pre-scripted in a lot of ways. And so them going back-to-back streams like this, and then with the Final Shape gameplay reveal, this is going to have to be something extremely impressive to continue the hype that has already been generated from Into the Light. Now, before we jump up and celebrate success, I'm about to calm down. Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen what Into the Light is going to be, or at least
absolutely
it yet, right? We still need to play it. It could be literally the best game mode ever, that being Onslaught, or the worst game mode ever. At the same time, whatever they show us in the Final Shape reveal next week, hopefully
that's going to be huge.
Could be awful. Could be terrible. Could just roll out and be like, all right, got a couple new weapons, got the same old, which is exactly how we felt last year when we saw the Vine Dot. It felt like just another year of Destiny. Nothing felt like it was really changing, but something has changed within Bungie, because these common sense decisions don't just happen naturally. If it did, it would have been happening up until this point. I don't know if it's maybe some leadership changes. I don't know if the developers themselves are having more of a grip on the future of Destiny. I don't know.
Hopefully they've been getting more freeway.
This is just the last big expansion. And
Jesus, stop with the fishing.
Regardless, I love the decisions that Bungie are making right now. I like that they are actually opening up communication between us and are listening to the community, and they're running with that feedback. You know, they even mentioned the PvP maps and the people they brought in to go over those PvP maps. And they said that it was tough listening to the criticism of their maps, but they needed to hear it. And that's the kind of dialogue you want to hear from your developers.
That is exactly, that kind of gives me more faith, is when they openly said, we got feedback, we didn't like it, but we understand that we need to accept it. And that's kind of what they need in general for the game. They've got to understand that there's things that they don't like that we like, or they don't like that we're talking about their game. They're going to have to accept it. That's what criticism's good for. We're the consumers. Listen to your consumers. And it seems like that's what they're doing, which is a good step in the right direction. Like I said, we're walking. We need to start running.
You don't want to hear an ego that just shuts everything down, because once egos enters that conversation, then there's no good feedback from either side that is going to be met. And so the fact that they're bringing people in and getting some observations on that from an outside source, that's something that Bungie has not been doing for a very long time. Whether that's a fault of COVID or whatever else, who knows? But I'm glad that they're doing that. These are common sense decisions though, guys. I'm excited to see what we're going to be getting next Tuesday. I'm excited to try out the content. I'm excited to see what the final shape is going to bring to us. And hopefully this is going to be the best expansion ever. So guys, that's it. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to go ahead and hit that like button. The link will be down below for you to check out. Absolutely. Like Bungie, it has been making common sense choices. Common sense as in you're doing what your consumer wants. You're trying to tailor the game to the consumer, the game the community wants it to be, versus what you want it to be. We're actually getting content in the game versus in the store. That's the huge one for me. You're trying to improve the game for the new players. You're adding maps and improving the quality of PvP for PvP players. That's a dub all around to me. But like I said in all my other videos, we are making steps. We're making progress. We're doing live streams. We're interacting with the community. We're talking to the community. We're taking feedback from the community. We're engaging with the community. This is fantastic movement. Let's sprint and let's not look back. Because the moment we stop and we go backwards is when you derail and you kill all faith that people have. Now, some people have no faith in Bungie and just see this as a one and done, and you might be completely right. We don't know. It will be very important to see the fate of Destiny based on what they show us in the final shape. I don't think Into the Light will determine the fate of Destiny, but I do think that the final shape gameplay reveal will reveal some insight into the final expansion. For now, that's what people are saying. It may very well determine whether people are going to get hyped or not hyped or not going to care. It could very well determine the fate of Destiny. I'll see you then. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. And you know I'll be live for your beautiful faces, and you'll see my live reaction and thought process. I will always be fair and critical about this stuff. I'm very interested to see where we go. Again, I love Destiny, but I also do not like some of the choices and how Bungie has been. But if they can turn the ship around and we can sprint in the right direction, I'm a happy boy. I'm a happy nerd. I'm okay with that. It's all dubbed for me. All right, guys, don't forget to be the best version of yourself. And as always, game out. Huzzah.